Need you guys to help me fix some problems here with your football team, right?
Okay.
There's 3 areas I've identified, and I want your opinion of how you would fix this, or is this a fix? Can you fix it? But I want your opinion about this.
Okay.
Zach.
Yep.
I want you to fix the penalties on this team.
Oh, crap.
How do you fix the penalties on this team?
You know what? This team has tried. I mean, I don't think there is fixing. We talked about this. I don't think there's fixing the penalties, sadly. I know this is, hey, how do we fix it? But the pre-snap stuff is, to me, it's discipline. It's the players. That stuff is correctable, right? There's no reason for you to be jumping off sides, the false starts. These type of pre-snap penalties this team gets way too often. And then also you could say the unsportsmanlike conduct, the roughing the passer type of stuff. I mean, I do think what DeMarcus Lawrence did, bit of a ticky-tack foul. The J-Ron Curse one, I didn't necessarily agree with either.
Worse too,
the Curse one was way worse.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you want him to do? So some of these things I just don't think that this team's going to fix. It's a theme that's gone on for so long. McCarthy puts an emphasis on it. We hear the players talk about. They go back and review the film. They talk about ways that they can go ahead and correct this. Even Tyler Broaddus, I gave this example yesterday, telling Christy Scales in the Cowboys Hour last week. Yeah, the clipping call, bad call. But how do we make it so where the refs aren't even in that position to make that call? How can I be better? And they are working on it. But I don't think that this is getting fixed.
I don't either, and I really don't know, Broaddus. I mean, around a Bill Parcells, around an Andy Reid, I mean, all these guys, did they have any special way of doing, approaching it in practice? Because I don't know. I mean, we might be overstating it. They were really costly penalties over the weekend, but they got, 5? It was 5 penalties. Wasn't like it was one of these where we've seen them go 13 penalties, 14. They were just really unfortunate ones for sure. And inexcusable and all those things, but
very impactful.
Impactful ones, but it wasn't like just a ref show all game long kind of deal. But I don't know. I mean, I'm willing to give Mike credit for talking about it with his players. With the analytics and studying it and trying to, they have officials at practice, and do these officials call every single? They probably should. Mike should hey, are we off sides? Are we lined up? How are we this? How are we that? And I don't think there's a great answer here. And the reason I do ask is because I think you're going to have to live with this. The problem I have is the penalties that are on third down.
Mm-hmm.
I've never covered a team or worked for a team that has more penalties on third down that just impact the game. And we saw it with the tank. We've seen hands to the face before. We've seen defensive. We've seen holding, illegal contact. Just those types of penalties that just allow the opponent to get back out on the field.
Yeah.
And I think Mike honestly is doing the best he can to try and talk about, hey, we can't do this. And when we have these officials, hey, they're going to call this. It's got to be on the players. It is going to have to be on the players to be very mindful of okay, I can't do that. I can't get this call. We just got to stop. And now here I am giving the opponent the ball back after that. I don't know. I hate to say this, but I think this is something you're going to have to live with. And I hate to say it even more that I hope it doesn't come down to it cost you a game in the playoffs because of it.
Yeah.
And because I don't have a great answer for it right now. I thought maybe you guys did.
817 says, can McCarthy fine players for penalties?
They've got to do. I mean,
that was something I thought of, but I don't think they do.
Honestly, they're trying.
You can do some kind of punishment though.
Yeah,
doesn't necessarily have to be financial.
Run laps. Is that what you're talking about?
Something
physical
of that
punishment.
nature.
Yeah, monetary punishment's always good. Eric,
yes,
help me fix road games. Give me an answer for road games. How do I fix road games?
Well, I feel like offensively you have communication issues.
I think that's a big issue here.
Okay. Well, then there's got to be a way to try and simulate it at the Star every day in practice of what it's like offensively when you're not able to just do the here we go and dictate everything that you want to dictate.
I like what you're going at.
You got to start throwing those variables in a very, very heavy way into your practices.
Yeah.
And I'm sure to an extent they are, but how much can you turn that up a notch? Because it just seems like, hey,
we're not going to be able to communicate as much. We're going to try to dumb things down. We're not going to be able to go in motion as much because we can't communicate, and everything is just we can't. Let's just reduce it down.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's got to be a better answer to that.
Yeah. I told you. How about you there?
Yeah, because this is nothing new. This is the National Football League, right?
Yeah.
You go on the road. You need to be prepared, obviously.
There was a time when this team won 8 games. Well, they won 8. They were under the Jason Garrett administration. They were better on the road than they were at home.
So, the silent communication is something you can absolutely work on. And some of this, I mean, it's hard to use that as an excuse. Your game in Arizona is a pro-Cowboy crowd.
Sure.
The crowd noise ain't impacting you there in Arizona. You just played badly.
I just think overall communication's a problem. I mean, Dak, you mentioned Dak pounding his foot trying to get the ball. Now there's a panic situation. Now all of a sudden, oh, wait a minute. How about this? I mean, I haven't seen Smith give up a sack on a twist stunt in months. And they get on the road, and what happens? They try and man a stunt. And was there communication there? Are they not being able to communicate because of crowd noise? Are they not being able to communicate because they're deep into a count? There just seems like at home, it just goes so much smoother for them, both offensively and defensively. When they get on the road, it appears that the problems they deal with is the uncertainty of what we're doing. And I don't mean that in like not knowing their assignments. It's like, what was the call? Was there a check here? Why are we manning a stunt here when all game long we've been passing stunts? What do we not get the communication? There's something about them on the road that they do not communicate well enough. Whereas home, it is elite.
Yeah,
the way that they communicate.
That should be fixable.
That should
communication stuff.
All right, in the last couple of minutes here, Eric, run defense.
Well, I think you've got to be willing to adjust the way you do things. Like my biggest gripe from Sunday is all game you're letting them go heavy personnel on you, and you're just going back to the well of nickel and dime defense, small defenders. And it's like, can you adjust some things? And you got like, hey, here's how we're going to stop the run with 2-3 techniques. It's like, here's Osa and here's Chauncey Golston, who was drafted as an edge guy. We tried to bulk him up a little bit so he could be a undersized under tackle. And now you have 2 under tackles for a good chunk of the game being your interior run defenders. You've got to be smarter than that and put bigger bodies on the field. And I know your team's not built that way, so you have to stretch a little bit to do it. But my gosh, like some of that stuff, you've got to be better. The other thing is just, your personnel is going to be problematic in certain opponents. And I don't know how much you can totally help that, but you can't just keep going, hey, this is what we do defensively with all these small guys, and they can run it 8 yards a clip on us all game because this is what we do.
And this week, maybe it's not as problematic because you're playing a team that's built on speed on offense in Miami, and they're not going to maul you like the Bills did because their offensive line's really banged up. So maybe your speed defensively ends up helping you a little bit, but the discipline aspect of this is going to matter because now you're going to play against some teams. We've seen this against San Francisco. We saw it in the past when the Rams did it and they beat you in the playoffs, the misdirection. Yeah. You got to trust your eyes, right? You can't get flowing and caught or hesitant, and then now you're playing basically you're stuck in the mud. That's something where teams are going to try and take advantage of you in that regard. And Miami definitely is going to do it. So definitely tackling. But, I mean, the personnel issue, that's not going to get corrected. You get Hankins back. That'll help a little bit. Yeah. But securing the edge, you got to find a way to get off blocks.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you what's going to fix this run defense. Your offense continually scoring 40 points.
That'll help. Yeah.
I like that.
Because what happens, you're making everybody else one-dimensional.
Put pressure
Nobody ran the ball on you when you were scoring 40 points a game. Nobody ran the ball on you. When teams find a way to stop Dallas's offense, they're comfortable finding ways to run the football.
Keep scoring points.
That's what you got to do. Offense has got to be your best defense.
Amen.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.